Game over.
Hello everybody, welcome to Bruta Games. I am Big Bruta, and today we are playing Pokemon Showdown. If you don't know what I'm doing, I'm playing Cap, and if you don't know what Cap is, you need to go watch the video beforehand explaining what Cap is. But yeah, so I'm going to just explain my team really quick, and we will get straight to battling. Okay. So with my team right here, I have a series of bulky Pokemon. And so we have Plasmanta here. Plasmanta here is meant to stop the fairies that threaten my team. As Mandibuzz, Tomahawk are both really weak to it, and they're rather defensive, and I need them. Overall, my team really isn't that weak to fairies, but fairies are a major part of this metagame, and having a good counter to them is very important. So I have Plasmanta here, who is a poison electric type, and he can deal with fairies and Tomahawk pretty well. So he's a good attacker mon to have. I'm running Sludge Wave and Discharge because Discharge has a nice paralyzed chance over Thunderbolt, and Sludge Wave lets you hit fairies really hard. Encore and Taunt are simply to give walls a hard time, and that really does help me a lot, especially with things that Plasmanta can't break through. I got Mandibuzz here. Mandibuzz here is my defogger, helps get rid of the hazards. Mandibuzz is my only hazard removal tool, and so she's important to this team. Pretty simple set. Then I have a metagross. Only thing different in this set is I have Protect. Protect is simply to make sure I get to my speed tier and don't get outsped by something that otherwise would kill me by a freak accident or something. It's just a safer play. I should run agility, but I don't, so oh well. Then I have Pyroke here. Pyroke has very good synergy with Metagross, and you can set up Stealth Rocks and phase people out with Leech Seed. On top of that, Lava Plume is very useful for dealing with the Steel types in this team, and Steel types that can wall certain threats on this team. And then I have Tomahawk, Rapid Spin, Haze, Roost, and Air Slash. This is a pretty straightforward Tomahawk set. It's support and has a little bit of offense. It can take hits for you and roost them off. If something tries to set up on you, you got Haze to get rid of their stat boosts. You got Rapid Spin to get rid of hazards. I forgot. No, Tomahawk and my Mandibuzz are meant to get rid of hazards. And so that's important to have. Sylveon here is my wall breaker. With Tomahawk, Colosoil, and Cycle Helm all being weak to Fairy, Sylveon Choice Specs Hyper Voice just mind-bendingly powerful and just obliterates the Cap trio. So I use this one to help me deal with the main three Caps. But yeah, that's my team. It's focused on Mega Metagross and Plasmanta for the most part, because these two can do some serious work. Sylveon here is a wall breaker, not really a sweeper. Really, Metagross is my most offensive mon on this team, but Plasmanta does a pretty good job as well. So that's my team, and hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so this is right away. I sent in my Metagross because I learned that Metagross is a good lead. However, he knew that and switched into his Pyroke, which is a perfect counter to Metagross. So I switched out immediately and switched into my Plasmanta, who is a poison electric type and has 131 special attack, so I could easily force this thing out, as it's a fire. Pyroke is a fire grass type, and so Sludge Wave would kill it one shot, pretty much. So he's going to switch out now because of that fear, and I switched my Sylveon in as he switched out. So he switched in his Landorus, which was not what I expected. I expected Colosoil, but oh well. So I took that Sludge Wave barely, but I did so enough, and then I can fire off a Hyper Voice, which completely wrecked his Landorus. I needed to do that because Landorus and Colosoil are a huge threat to my team, especially Landorus because he can Psychic my Tomahawk and Earthquake my Metagross and Plasmanta. Anyways, so he's in his Tomahawk, which I knew was not Tomahawk, because you don't send in a fighting flying type on a Fairy's Choice Specs Sylveon. So I knew it was Oromoth, which is an illusion user who has very good setup moves. Anyways, so I just went straight for the Hyper Voice and tried to break through it. It didn't KO, but it's pretty close to it, and now I can Revenge Kill it with pretty much anything I need. However, without Pyroke having a use in this battle, really, I switched in Pyroke right away and just fired off a Lava Plume, which I knew he could take a Bug Buzz, and so this was a very safe play, at least in my opinion, although it kind of sacked my Pyroke. But oh well, I didn't really need him for the battle. So, he has to switch in his next Pokemon in. And he goes for Colosoil, who can easily Earthquake me and take me out. Which I wasn't... I switched... Did I switch? What did I switch to? Yeah, Mandibuzz. because Mandibuzz can take any Earthquake he does and Pursuit or Knock Off, and he doesn't really care about it because he's Dark Flying type. So that works great, and lets me defog because I knew he'd switch out and then he couldn't do anything about it. Because although there's rocks on, you can use rock moves. It's not usually Ren, so I was expecting to hit a rock move. Anyways, I ran into Dig Fog, got rid of the Stealth Rocks. He switched in his real Tomahawk, and I knew this was real because I roasted the other one, so I used Toxic to make sure this Tomahawk's bulky. To get rid of its bulk, by using Toxic, now it no longer can stall me out. And so I knew he'd switch out, and with that, I switched out to... Oh no, did I switch out? Yeah, I switched out. Straight to my metagross, expecting Sylveon to come in. And now at this point, I can safely get up my Mega Evolution, and that lets me outspeed other things afterwards. I think I go for a Zen Headbutt. Protect. Yeah, I'm just doing a safe move just in case we went for a Shadow Ball, and it was Choice Specs, but it wasn't. So I just protected, got that up, and then he switched in. I switched my plasmanta again, can take any hit from Pyro because it's slightly bulky and has very good special attack, and neutral hits from Pyro, which is a defensive Pokemon, is really ridiculous. I'm not going to do anything. So I switched in and did Sludge Wave, and I knew he'd switch out his Pyro because Pyro can't do anything Plasmanta and gets arrested in one shot. Okay, so from there, I knew he'd go to Colossal afterwards, and so I went to Tomahawk. That causes him to switch out his Colossal into Sylveon, which was a great move. And I know he'd switch to Sylveon, switch back out, and with that, I switch out to... Oh no, did I switch out? Yeah, I switch out. Straight to my Metagross, expecting Sylveon to come in. And now at this point, I can safely get up my Mega Evolution, and that lets me outspeed other things afterwards. I think I go for a Zen Headbutt. No, I protect. Yeah, I'm just doing a safe move just in case we went for a Shadow Ball, and it was Choice Specs, but it wasn't. So I just protected, got that up, and then he switched in. I switched my Plasmanta again. Can take any hit from Pyro because it's slightly bulky and has very good special attack, and neutral hits from Pyro, which is a defensive Pokemon, is really ridiculous. I'm not going to do anything. So I switched in and did Sludge Wave, and I knew he'd switch out his Pyro because Pyro can't do anything Plasmanta and gets arrested in one shot. So he switches out to Colossal. Okay, so from there, I knew he'd go to Colossal afterwards, and so I went to Tomahawk. That causes him to switch out his Colossal into Sylveon, which is a great move. And I know he'd switch to Sylveon, switch back out into my Metagross, who really can't do anything with Pyroke alive, sadly. My Metagross is just the usual set you'd find on most Metagross, which is Meteor Mash, Ice Punch, Zen Headbutt. Although I add Protect instead of Agility because with the fact that you have this thin cap, I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal, and I just want to make sure I can get my Mega Evolution off safely. Okay, so I switched in my Plasmanta afterwards, knowing he had a Sylveon there, and I expected to switch into Pyroke, so Plasmanta could counter Pyroke. He'd have to double switch back out into Colossal, who has to then take a Sludge Wave. This does really lame damage because Colossal usually runs Assault Vest, which I knew at that point, and pretty sure he was going to switch into that. However, I realized that without me getting rid of Colossal, I will never win this battle, so I kept just firing off Sludge Waves to slowly weigh down this thing, and at the point I didn't have any safe switch in necessarily, so I let my Pyro go down because he didn't even do anything anyways. So I switched to my Tomahawk, and he can't do anything to it, he has to switch out, and I do a horrible mistake right now. I Air Slash. Although this gives me information about Sylveon, it really does nothing else than tell me that it's a Cleric set. Wet Edge, which is useful, but at the same time, it takes away a huge amount of my momentum, and it does very little damage. So, I switch out immediately. And now knowing that it is a leftover set, I know it only runs Hyper Voice usually. And it runs Hyper Voice, Heal, Bell, Protect, and Wish, which is great. A great set. I love that set. But it can't really do that much damage, really, to anything that doesn't.